Welcome to this brand new episode of Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast.
Did you forget how to say that? It sounded like you had like a pause there. It's like, welcome to...
It's been a while. It's been a while.
I don't forget to how to
talk.
How to spoke.
Oh boy. Great start. I don't forget how to start this because I say it every day, whether or not we're recording. I look in the mirror.
Motivational speech.
And I say, welcome to Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast. Welcome to life, baby. Well, we're going to start this with our titular countdown, although we have already gotten to Infinity.
Right.
Yeah, technically.
This makes no sense now.
Now we're on to Infinity.
So, like...
plus two, part 2?
Ooh, that's my pant size.
Plus one.
Infinity plus 1.
Oh, shit.
It's big. It's been a rough couple of months for me. I legit have gained weight, though. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
it's
must
'cause I'm
have.
older.
You're looking real thick, girl.
Thank you. Well, you know,
THICC.
I've been wanting to make them clap for a long, long time. And now I can. Let me do it so I can hear it. Okay, ready? Hold on. Let me just put my mic down.
Oh.
Yep.
Gross.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Made them clap.
That was quite a sight.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, sorry. This is an all audio medium. Anyways, let's count this baby down. I guess we've done all of the other ones, so we're going to start with 0 and go to -1. Ready?
0, -1.
Boom. Done.
There
This
you
is
go.
Antman and the Wasp.
I just have one question. When Cap needed help, if I'd asked you, would you have come?
I guess we'll never know. But if you had, you'd have never been caught.
I do some dumb things, and the people I love the most, they pay the price.
Thanks to you, we had to run. We're still running.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast. If this is your very first episode, boy, are there plenty others for you to listen to.
But if you're watching this movie, then for sure hopefully this isn't your first episode, because damn.
Yeah, you are confused.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially at the end of that one.
So, Countdown to Infinity, it's a podcast where we watch every single Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and then we talk about it. We have a trivia game, and it's all leading up to whatever's next for Marvel. The second movie, which we still don't know the title to.
They might be canceled.
What? No way.
Cancel Marvel.
Yeah. That'd be crazy if it just ends with everyone.
Yeah. Nope, that's it.
Nope. Whoop.
That's the best we got.
But let's go around. Let's introduce ourselves. It's been a while, so for some of you, you may want to hear an update on our lives. So let's all give them an update on what's going on. My name is Emmanuel. Not much.
My name is John. Also not much.
My name's Andrew, formerly Andrew. My name is now Andrea. I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
I've become my twin. That's
He's
right.
a Wachowski brother.
Wachowski.
Oh, I don't know. What's their name? Wachowski?
Lana and...
Elon? I don't know.
It's been a while since we've done an episode of this because there hasn't been a new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
I know. What up with that, Marvel?
Yeah, you guys should be making one every single week.
Every month.
Well, they made Deadpool in the middle of all that stuff. That's really a Fox thing, though. But
Fox.
I felt like it kind of...
soon to be maybe Marvel.
Yeah, there was a kind of little bit of a wait there for...
Hey, how do you think I should vote? I'm supposed to vote at this Disney shareholders meeting. I have one vote out of the 15 million. Should I vote to buy Fox or not to buy Fox?
Could you imagine? That could swing it, though, because they're like, what if we won by just one vote?
And it was me.
Yeah, and then...
No, don't buy it.
Yeah.
I would vote for it, I think.
No, just say no.
Okay, cool.
Just go against the crowd.
I'll go against the crowd. We need to buy DreamWorks. Imagine a Shrek crossover with
101 Dalmatians.
With Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then Donkey.
the Shrek Mickey holiday special.
Like, I'm making waffles. Oh.
No, I was like, what?
That's Mickey
you're right.
Mouse.
That's exactly what happened.
Doing the donkey line. Nice.
Anyways, well, we're back this week because Antman and the Wasp has come out.
Has come.
Have come out?
Has come.
Antman and the Wasp has come?
Hard.
Pretty hard.
Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about it. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to talk about our first thoughts. It'll be spoiler-free, and then we're going to take a break before we dive into the spoiler zone. And we talk about what this movie means to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and all of the little things that are in this movie. And I say little because it's about
Nice. Small.
small things.
Yeah.
Small things. Say what? Wait, I will not go. Turn
Yeah,
the
big one.
light. No, am I not saying it right? Not
Yeah,
right.
no, you were right.
Turn the lights off. Carry me
na
home.
na 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 na. Well, you stopped.
Oh na 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 na.
No, okay.
So
Man.
Ant-Man
The
and the
crowd
Wasp.
missed this.
I know. We're
Boom.
sorry that you
Shaking
missed.
off the rust.
It's been 2 months since you heard us really just fuck around.
Fuck around.
We're now realizing, man, how much time have I wasted on this? Not much, just 12 hours, honestly, right?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
Right,
maybe
around that.
We cut out
around there.
most of it.
Yeah, this is we
This is
have
hour
been-
18. We've been going at it for a while.
So what did you guys think of Ant-Man and the Wasps?
And the Wasps.
The wops. Wop. 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 Wop.
Ant-Man and
Andrew, you want to go first? Since you're
What?
rapping.
First impressions, you said? Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It's funny. I was sitting in the theater, and obviously, it depends on when you listen to this, but I have seen it twice already. The first time I kind of didn't know what to think. I know that I liked it, but I didn't know what I liked about it. I just knew that I was entertained and I was having a good time. This second time around, I thought it was pretty interesting because I think it's one of the freshest franchises because nobody else can come close to what he does. Like no power is like similar, I guess, to Ant-Man. He's kind of in a league of his own. So even with this one, they still haven't broke a lot of ground that they could do with the effects and things like that. I feel like the quantum realm was in like 2 minutes of this movie. You know, it was so short, but they can dive into a lot more things. It's going to be interesting to see how what role he plays in the next Avengers. But I thought it was really, really cool. I think Ant-Man is slowly becoming one of my favorite, more favorite. Is that
Favorite.
Favoritist.
favorite Marvel heroes, but they were able to even step up their game in cast wise also, which was pretty cool because the first one had an already great
cast.
It was pretty underrated, but with this one, I think whatever good parts they took from that they saw from the first one, they ended up saying, "Hey, let's do more of that." Which why wouldn't you do that since that's the thing that ended up working for you? But all around good job for everybody, and it's pretty crazy to see on where this fits in the whole MCU just in general. And again, the bigger role he might play when some of these cats stop doing what they're doing, whether that's Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr., he gets too old or something. Where is he going to be one of the leader characters, or is he going to be one of those supporting role characters, But overall, I think, again, they kind of struck a chord here, and they didn't show too much, so that way they can pick up the stakes in the next one. This one was a very personal, I think, story for them, with basically them trying to get the original Wasp back, played by Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, the original Catwoman.
Yeah, I know. Which is those are two really cool titles to have: the Wasp and Catwoman. Both.
My two favorite animals, the cats and wasps.
Nice. Well, and they're two super vital characters to their mythology. So it is really, really cool to finally see Ant-Man and the Wasp finally take the screen because they're really, really big members of the Avengers. With Hank Pym creating Ultron at one point, and things like that. So they're super big parts again of the Marvel Foundation. So to see them finally get their due diligence or justice, it's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I kind of I didn't know if I really liked this movie. I guess I've also seen it twice. I guess
You guys
But,
are such
like-
braggarts. Okay,
No,
I've
it's
seen
not.
it once.
I've seen it
It's only
2.3
been out
you
times.
said
once.
you said first impression, so I was like, fuck. But like, if my actual true first impressions was, I didn't know if I liked it because it was a lot thrown at you. Almost like I got vibes of Infinity War because of the amount of, without spoiling anything, the amount of subplots and stuff in the movie that actually happen. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie, and it's a lot to digest. And then, but I do like the approach that they went to it, because I was telling Drew earlier that like this movie kind of feels like a romantic comedy. and it's pretty
To shorten that, let's call it a rom-com.
a rom-com.
Let's agree to that.
Let's coin the term rom-com.
Rom-com.
Let's coin the term.
Yeah.
That's so it's nice to have that type of like movie because the first one is like a very much almost like a heist film.
This one's kind of like that a little bit.
Sort of a little bit. This one's more of a chase of MacGuffin type of storyline if you kind of think of it. But overall it's like kind of I found it kind of funnier than the first one, which is kind of weird because I think I remember, I don't know if I said this on the podcast or not, or maybe the audience can obviously fact check, but I felt like the first one's humor is kind of at times a little weird and forced, because it was coming off of Edgar Wright's specific brand of humor, and is like his humor that's basically all in the visual language.
Yeah, it's a visual humor, and this is situational almost.
This one's a little bit more towards like this one's actually. Like, the first one, you can totally tell that the bones of Edgar Wright's story was there. This one is its own thing, like really, really different.
Same
Even
director,
tonally
right?
different. Same director and everything. So this guy, Peyton Reed, had the chance to build something from the ground up this time, as opposed to, just working off of somebody else's. Yeah, working off of someone else's script, basically. So, but overall, it's a really fun time. I think it's actually the most upbeat out of all the movies we've gotten. Especially, and not just because it's come off after Infinity War. I mean, it may seem that way because Infinity War was so
depressing.
Such a depressing like kind of like ending there for that one. So it's kind of it's refreshing to have this type of like little small stake story, again like the first one, but like full of humor and like and even like I think Sophia had said it earlier too. She doesn't have a mic, but she's somewhere around here.
Yeah, she's safe.
She's hidden.
Stronghold.
We
live in a very
secure,
you're making me
secure
forget my
place.
fucking thought.
Okay.
Just like,
She said something.
she did, and now I lost it.
Okay, cool.
No. She had said something how she didn't like no, that wasn't it. Was it something else after that? It was no antagonist. There you go. She said something. She's feeding me lines through an earpiece.
Okay.
She said she didn't like the way that there was no real antagonist in the movie, and I get that because there really isn't. Like,
There's no conventional.
Yeah,
yeah,
antagonist.
exactly.
When I was sitting in the
It's
theater,
not
I was
yeah.
starting to like speculate right before the movie came on. I was like, "What if it's Michelle Pfeiffer?"
I thought that originally too.
because you need a big name like to hold up the villain, Well, and not all the time. Sometimes you get these people who like Tom Hiddleston, where like Marvel kind of built his career essentially, but. It is interesting because in the comics, Hank Pym is one of the more abusive heroes, and
he has issues, right? He's alcoholic.
Yeah, and,
he's made a lot of enemies himself.
rageaholic. Yeah, so I thought they were gonna flip the script, and maybe she was gonna be the one that was like, "Oh, I'm attacking the family," or something. Being the
Family.
villain.
But I'm glad they didn't go with that at all.
But and then
which
I
is pretty
thought
cool.
I thought of Laurence Fishburne, and I was like, "Huh, maybe."
but
But not even, right?
But even
Kinda-
then,
Kind
yeah,
of,
like,
maybe, sort of, maybe.
So, but
Maybe.
yeah, basically, so like at the very end, you don't really get into, without getting into that spoilerific part, you don't really get a very conventional antagonist out of this. Almost like not really a villain, if you think about it.
Yeah.
But
it's more of like a race against time type of thing. Like
Yeah.
we need to complete this objective
Yeah.
before this happens.
and I think that's like even if that didn't really stick the landing, I think it's still pretty cool and unique to have as a part of the series because it is very small scale and really like the stakes are your friends in this case, your friends or your family that's going to like get bitten.
Yeah.
And,
So,
it's,
like,
and I think that's what makes this movie really special is it's not as crazy and insane in the scope of the other Marvel movies where the galaxy's ending or obviously there's some Thanos thing happening. It's a very human and family oriented story, which is really unique. But I think you're right. It was definitely funnier. I mean, that's what is that? Subjective, I guess. That's subjective. Of course,
subjective,
it's
yeah.
up to people to think if it's funnier, but I just think it has built-in comedy because you have things shrinking and growing, and that's already funny. But yeah, so I definitely think there's a lot of humor in the way this movie was written. There are a lot of storylines and a lot of people from the original that you care about, like his old crew from prison that you want to see more of. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the little girl in this movie is his daughter, and that chemistry is so special.
Yeah,
It is.
it's so good.
It starts you
in this
with it
movie.
too.
She's one of the best actresses in the movies. Like she's
Yeah.
really, really
She's
funny.
really
yeah.
good.
She's so cute.
Oh,
She's like so adorable that like it hurts. Like like when you want to like just pinch the baby's cheeks.
okay, all right, calm down,
Okay,
calm
yeah, I
down,
was about to
Andrew.
say.
I said pinch a baby's cheeks. Like
Like,
woo.
like face cheeks.
Yeah.
So this movie is really really funny. But it definitely deals with the cloud of Infinity War over it, because I went in thinking, what are the connections? And so the beginning of this movie had to be so personal so that you forget about that. So that way they make it very clear that the stakes are us retrieving Wasp from the quantum dimension.
Yeah.
And I mean, overall, even the villain in the movie, what's the name of the villain?
Ghost.
Ghost. I never saw her. I'm just kidding. No, she's a ghost. Even Ghost's story arc was really insane. We talked about this as the overarching theme of a lot of these Marvel movies are that sins of the father thing.
Family.
Right, yeah.
And that still kind of applies
Pretty
to
heavy
this
in this
because
one, yeah.
Hank Pym's past is coming around in a little bit in a way
Right.
with the things that I guess
Are we
people
going-
have perceived him
are we going into
doing.
spoiler
No,
territory
not
now?
spoiling.
No,
but,
no.
there is still that same thread that
Yeah.
goes through all of the same Marvel movies that goes through this movie, so it's connected thematically, not just in title, to
Totally
all
true.
of the other Marvel movies too.
Yeah, Guardians has a similar themes to
Yeah.
that. Like, father and children. And so
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
And
yeah.
it also does a really good job at explaining like the aftermath of Civil War, the impact that happened to him, and why he's not there in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because they basically run through that in the first 10 minutes.
It's the big question people have probably going into this.
Yeah, like,
if
wha-
you've seen Infinity.
well, and he's
War.
one of their big guns.
Have you seen Countdown to Infinity War?
Have you seen Countdown? Yeah.
If you've been listening to the
Countdown,
podcast,
Poundtown.
they're based on movies.
Yeah.
These podcasts are based on films. Watch the
But,
films.
I mean, you saw in Civil War, he was one of their big guns, literally taking on all of Team Iron Man by himself.
yeah, and
So
there's
you
so
wondered,
much,
why isn't he punching Thanos out of the sky?
and there's so much left to be explored with what he can do when he shrinks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this movie's a blast to watch. It's funny. It's filled with action. I think some action scenes that can only be in an Antman movie.
Yeah.
Because he grows and
Definitely,
shrinks and grows and shrinks.
It's got water bears.
It's got water bears,
yeah, well, exactly. Boom.
which is science. So technically, this is a scientific movie.
Technically.
It's set in a different place than the other Marvel movies. It's set in San Francisco. and
San Fran.
Not in San Fran.
Not
SF
New
for
York
short.
or anything on the like.
Not New York, not Sokovia.
Yeah,
Yeah, cornucopia.
not
even though
Titan.
they do say Sokovia chords in it once.
they do. I feel like
Spoiler alert.
Okay, I was like,
Well,
we'll
that's
get
not a
into it.
spoiler.
I'm just kidding.
Some
I
of
mean,
the stuff that like they bring up from the of the Marvel movies, I feel like they kind of like doing it like in tongue in cheek, like almost like making fun of it in a
Yeah.
way. Sort
Well,
of.
and they do it so quick that you're just like, it has to be part of it. You know?
And the tension is still there though, because you're right, it's a race against time, but it's a race against time against multiple things
That's actually
Well,
happening.
and
that he
this
needs
whole-
to get
yeah.
to.
It's
So
that-
it's boom, boom, boom. He has to get out of
It's
here.
almost like a rat race. You got multiple parties racing for like the same thing
Yeah.
almost at some points.
And then also Ant-Man racing for different things because he's under house arrest, and there's that whole
yeah.
thing
Yeah,
that
that's right,
happens
yeah.
too. But yeah, great casting, great everything else. Well, guys, is there anything to add to our spoiler-free review before we go into the spoiler zone, the
Yep.
quantum spoiler zone? Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, Thanos dies in this one.
Uh-oh.
Got
all right.
you.
We're going to take our very first break where we're going to talk to you guys about an ad. And that ad is this.
But the story didn't end there.
If you're wondering what that was, have we got news for you? This isn't our only podcast. We have, for the last 3 fucking years, 4 years maybe? Could it be 4 years?
Yeah, I think it's 3.
3 years?
Yeah.
We've been podcasting for a while now, and we have over 100 episodes. We can't even tell you how many hours that is, because some of them are 2 or 3 hours long.
Right. Yeah.
Let's just round it and say we have 150 hours of things for you to listen to.
At the least.
At the least.
Yeah.
Of a show called Revenge of the Sequel. It's a podcast just about sequels. It's actually what got us started about over this Marvel biz. Because all these are technically sequels and prequels.
Right.
But we
We're
watch
cheating
movies.
right now when we do Countdown to Infinity.
We watch new sequels. We watch old sequels. Name some of the old sequels we watch. What's the oldest sequel you think we've done?
The oldest sequel. Oh no, we've done some classics like Day of the Dead. We've done some. Fuck, now I can't even think of it. There you
Jaws
go.
2 was old.
Jaws 2. Jaws 2 is pretty awesome.
Even things.
Jaws 3. My bad. I think Jaws 2 is unreleased.
Oh boy, there's a lot. I'm trying to think now. And
Yeah, there's so many.
There's a lot of movies. We watch a lot of movies, and some things are new too. So we
Some
watch.
things are new, and
you know.
like if you're a fan of the Marvel stuff, we have covered like you'll get our actual first impressions on Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
On a past episode like that.
But not only do you have us, we have a lot of guests on the show, and some of them are special because they're in the movie we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
So,
sometimes they've made the movie that we're talking about.
Yeah,
too.
we've talked to Robert Rodriguez, indie movie darling. We've talked to Sean Gunn. He's on the podcast. Lloyd Kaufman is on our 100th episode from Troma.
Yeah, Ken Foray from
Ken
Dawn of the
Foray,
Dead.
Dawn
Pretty
of
cool.
the Dead.
So many good people. I think we interviewed the voice of SpongeBob.
Tom Kenny.
Oh, he's not
Also-
in the sequel. He is.
Yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's
Yeah,
right.
dude.
Yeah.
We gotta do
That's
that.
probably
Sponge
a
out of
future,
water, sponge out
future
of water.
episode. Future app.
We have an unreleased interview with the guy from Clerks as well. But
yeah, Dante.
find Revenge of the Sequel anywhere you find Countdown to Infinity. It'll be there, and so much good stuff for you, baby. Kisses.
Just wanna hit. It won't hurt to listen to Red Alert. Take off the shirt, make sure it don't hit the dirt.
Whatever.
Yeah, just keep going right now.
Welcome back from that break. We're now in the quantum
Realm.
spoiler
Ooh,
zone.
hell of a break.
We've all shrunk down to the size of an ant. We're talking to
It's just
microphones.
because it's cold in here.
Oh, sorry. That's not
I'm just kidding.
what we were talking about.
What? Wait, what?
Would you rather shrink to be smaller or bigger?
I don't think you can shrink to be bigger.
Would you rather shrink or grow? Are you a grower?
Did you
or
put
are
it
you
on
a
Wumbo?
shrinker?
You put it on Wumbo? I put it on Wumbo, baby.
I don't know.
Um,
The Ant-Man powers are really like it's cool to have both options,
Well, and
which is like really cool
It
about the
sucks
hair
because
character.
I'm super allergic to ants.
Whoa! Oh, yeah. We've established this
So,
in the
yeah.
first
so you
Ant-Man.
would be a perfect Ant-Man then, so they won't sting you.
Yeah, well, I was outside and you had ants like right on and you never have ants right on the front porch. And
Do we really?
Yeah,
Yeah, you do.
and they're
Big
the big
ones.
ones. I'm
Big
like, ooh,
ones.
these are the ones that kill me.
You know,
watch it, yeah.
one of them bit Sophia in bed the other day,
Holy,
and it was
freak.
insane.
yeah,
It was wild. They're probably everywhere.
yeah. I know. Now I'm real paranoid, but this is the best.
Maybe it's because we have constant sugar water just pouring
Just
everywhere,
flowing through pipes.
flowing through our pipes. I always have a loose papaya in my pocket.
papaya.
You sweat sugar.
I sweat sugar and I
Glucose.
roll around. That's probably why I have ants. I think I would grow bigger because when I'm small, I could be, there's so many things that would kill me.
That's true. No, but Ant-Man's power is. Oh, okay. So you're only talking about the changing sizes? Because Ant-Man's power is he has the same strength of a man when he's small. So if he were to
Oh,
punch
yeah.
you when he was small, it'd feel like a grown man.
But if he's a big man, if he's giant man,
he has the same punch of a. I'm just kidding. That
As a baby?
Normal
As a
person,
baby?
Yeah, just like
but it seems like they established in this movie he gets tired when he
Yeah,
uses
well,
all
the
his
bigger
energy.
he is, yeah.
burns a bunch of energy. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, well, let's talk about this movie. Well, let's get what do you guys think about Ant-Man? You watch it? Did you guys watch it?
And the Wasp.
And the Wasp. We'll talk about her later. No, I'm just kidding. No, Ant-Man and the Wasp. What I thought one of the more clever parts of this was him being under house arrest and the friction between him and I guess the Pyms.
Yeah, Hank Pym.
Hank
Or
Pym.
and the Van Dyne.
Yeah, that friction, that conflict was so good because it sort of made him choose between what he wanted to do and family.
Yeah.
Because
like-
if he doesn't, he's technically a criminal, which is odd because
Well, now he's trying to redeem himself with his business, where
Yeah.
he's like a security expert. So
well,
that's
is
interesting.
one of the things that makes him unique is he doesn't have he doesn't have complete freedom because he has a kid. I don't think Captain America has a child.
Well, and I think that's partially why, like in the beginning, obviously it starts with him and his daughter.
Yeah.
basically trying to find a way to entertain themselves because he's on house arrest. Can't leave the house for 2 years. He's on probation for 3 years after that. So
I hear that.
yeah, yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
But
Ankle bracelet.
it's pretty interesting because you get that. What's the Agent Woo?
Jimmy Woo, who's
He's hilarious.
Agents of Atlas.
Yeah, and
Agents of Atlas. people.
he's a hilarious actor.
Oh, yeah, he's
what's
in,
his real name?
Oh, Randall Park.
Randall
yeah.
Park.
Randall
yeah.
Park.
Fresh
is
off
great.
the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
What's that movie where
the
he
interview.
plays Kim
The
Jong Un?
Yeah, the
interview.
interview. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
he's
funny.
a hilarious addition again. So to see him in that role, that reoccurring role, was pretty awesome. But he basically explains the Sokovia Accords things and why the Van Dyne and Pym are on the run. They violated the Accords because it's their tech in the Giant Man suit. So that was pretty cool to put that in
Yeah.
actual perspective.
Just to tie it into the bigger universe, because at this point, I think that's the only thing that connects it. At least at this point in the movie, like that to the because this thing is pretty standalone.
Yeah.
I feel like it's even more standalone than that first movie.
Yeah.
Like way more.
Yeah, and then again that house arrest thing where he's so close to getting out, so now he needs to tippy toe. But now all this stuff is finally like basically hitting the fan. He's went 2 years without this, and it basically explains on why Hawkeye and him aren't in the mix for Infinity War, because they both have families and they're the only ones that are tied down
That's
by
huge.
something like that.
That's
'Cause,
insane.
You know, Iron Man has Pepper Potts, but she's in on it too. You know, she's in on the whole superhero.
And
gig.
they're on a different plane. They're so powerful and
Sure.
rich, and they have resources. Unlike, you're right, Hawkeye and
Captain America, like
Ant-Man.
all those, like
Yeah.
even all the,
Well,
basically anyone who wasn't with Iron Man.
Well,
like,
because
really.
Captain America has family, but it's another superhero, Bucky.
yeah,
You know,
that's true.
And then Sharon Carter finally
Yeah.
died.
Because
so-
you'd figure if Ant-Man didn't, he would just be in Wakanda.
yeah, exactly. He'd be
fucking
helping
scot-free.
And the thing that's crazy is that, like, you know, Hank Pym, you think he's all powerful, but you end up figuring out that he only had one suit, and Ant-Man used it to go fight,
Yeah.
the Avengers, and now they're like, oh, we have no suits.
Well, that's
it.
It was such a great way to explain, and I'm wondering now whether or not that was something they planned originally. I mean, they obviously wanted to have movies still playing before the next Infinity War. It only
Yeah.
makes sense. You can't build up something and then have the second movie come out,
Yeah.
in 2 months.
Did Lord of the Rings do that? Return of the King? Or how long was it before?
I don't know.
they
We
released
can look
the
it
second
up.
part?
Yeah.
a year each between.
It's
those
the same
movies.
thing with
Yeah.
Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Harry Potter was
Wait,
a
no,
year
but just
after
the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, because every Harry Potter movie was like a year and a half, between releases, and then
Yeah.
after a while it started being like 2 years.
You got to get that weight in there. But yeah, that anticipation is really important too, because it ensures everyone has seen it. Everyone who just waits till Blu-ray has seen it. Everyone has seen it, and the stakes are there so that your box office is insane whenever the conclusion happens.
Right.
But this movie and Captain Marvel are the two that are in between the two Infinity War.
And it has a lot to
movies.
live up to because
Yeah,
of that.
and this one even more so because he's already an established character. Captain Marvel could be an origin. I mean, it is an origin film.
Yeah.
That sets up in the past.
Yeah,
so
and everything you see is going to be new.
yeah, but this movie definitely had the shadow of Infinity War over it, and I think I already said that, but it definitely lives up to it. But yeah, so he is basically deciding that his family is more important, while the Pyms are trying to contact Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, and they're the same thing where family's more important and they're going
Yeah.
after their family, which is basically that quantum realm, the storyline where they need to trek into the unknown of
To find, Janet.
Because you ended up seeing in the first one that Scott was able to come back,
Yeah.
obviously, and that intrigued them all their own, and basically spun off this entire movie. That's pretty much the plot.
Yeah, just to retrieve her from the quantum.
They redo some of the scenes from the first one where it shows them taking out the missile.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting to see. Pfeiffer and Douglas
De-aged again, which is
It was
like
crazy.
look so young.
Yeah, whatever technology they're doing to de-age these actors is like that deserves a real big kudos, because that is freaking crazy. Like you can almost, I mean, obviously, like that probably eats into their budget a lot, because obviously it's a special effect. But you can, I mean, if they had the budget, they could do like a damn prequel with those two.
and
Like,
Douglas said he's okay with it. Like,
yeah, and
it's-
imagine that though.
the,
Like
the
it can
tech
work.
is so good that you can have him and some stunt double wearing his face like that.
I know it's a combination of actual makeup,
Yeah.
and then they just fill in a bunch of the
And a double too. I think
stuff,
it's a
which
double.
is
Yeah.
absolutely wild to see. But
Did
it's really good.
did
You're
it
right.
to
It
Kurt
looks
Ru-
like you're looking at Michelle Pfeiffer when she does her lines at the beginning, and you're reminded how badass Michelle Pfeiffer is as an actress.
Yeah.
But she's like, it looks like she's just stepped off the set of like Batman Returns.
Yeah,
You're just like, holy hell.
And they've done it before with Robert Downey Jr. and Kurt Russell.
Yeah, it's
in,
true.
Guardians and then in Civil War. So
They
it's
just can fix everyone, make
they're-
everyone
well,
young.
and you could tell it's something that they're working on because now it's Nick Fury's turn in
It's true, yeah.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, yeah. for
So
next year.
it's one of these things that basically almost expands the lifespan of these actors in the roles.
Yeah, and it's not. And it's something that's really cool because you're able to go back in time, because one of the things of this movie is these are characters that have had histories with S.H.I.E.L.D. and with everything that has happened before.
Yeah.
Right, they're just like in their
Now.
shadows, in their own little corner too.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the Ant-Man movies, let me just go off on a little tangent here.
Here we go.
Tangent number 1.
Speaking of like their own little corner, these Ant-Man movies are very tonally different from like the other flicks. Like what I'm really like saying is that the fact that like you got really weird elements happening in this movie. Like you have like a whole mini universe happening, and then you have like ants like as henchmen, like the entire time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
you know what I mean? Like just like
and I think I told
regular-sized
you
ants.
this. I might have told you this when we exited out the showing the first time. That it feels like one of the most comic book properties, I think.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with this, basically this world. And yeah, it is interesting to see, the ants doing all the work and basically all the heavy lifting. And
They're
you're
a little
like,
bit like bigger than your normal ants now. Like they
Yeah.
actually have like dog-sized ants that are like
yeah, and they're trained up to the T, so it's basically like they're henchmen or
One
whatever.
of them even plays the drums like twice.
Yeah, and it was funny because watching the trailer, I was like, man, that part looks dumb. But then you think about it and you're like, whoa, now it's a little bit.
Bonkers.
Yeah, now it's a little bit more plausible, I guess, because they're able to train these ants, or control them.
I might have said this in the Ant-Man episode that we did, but I remember seeing that Comic-Con footage of him attacking that guy with a gun and thinking, man, this is going to be a stupid movie because I thought this looks too weird or too silly.
It's too out there, yeah.
And this movie, even with all of the talking to ants stuff and
They
all
run
of
with
the
it.
insane stuff, is really, really good.
They lean into it. Like they
Well-
lean into the craziness of like what's actually happening
And-
because you
Yeah.
actually have
and with this fake science that,
well, because you even have a character. I think it's like Paul Rudd at one point who says, like, do you just put the word quantum in front of everything?
Yeah.
Because they're making fun of themselves there. Like,
And it's the little things where, like, you can tell that they use, like, little pieces. So, like, it's like a knob from, like, an amp. And they blow it up to where, like,
Yeah.
it's super big. So that's, like, the dial they're using. And I'm like, oh, man, that's cool. And it's, like, a dial with, like, a big
There's a
paper
paper
clip.
clip, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, like, a huge paper clip. And I'm like, wow, that's, like, super smart.
the
to be
building
able
is
to-
a fucking suitcase, and they
Yeah.
have a little thing of Hot Wheel
Hot Wheel
cars that they blow up.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, man, like, we've barely scratched the surface of what they can do, and what if there's like an airplane sequence where they're falling out and then he's able to blow up a jet and they fall in, James Bond
Yeah.
style, and they take off or something,
Are you writing a movie? A fan film?
Oh yes.
Fanfic?
Fanfic.
Fanfic? Fan porn? Well, so let's go down the list of the characters that are new to this movie. We'll start with Ghost. Ghost.
Ghost, played by Hannah John-Kamen,
The box ghost.
who I hope I said that right. John-Kamen.
Common.
Anyway, she was last seen in Ready Player One this year as
Ready
one of the
Player One.
henchmen of I forgot his name, Ben Mendelsohn, something. I forgot what the villain's name in that movie was, but she
Ready
was
Player
one of the-
One out in theaters now.
She was the secondary villain, henchwoman, but if you will, to that, and she was pretty awesome.
She's also a Dothraki.
She was also a Dothraki widow in Game of Thrones, which makes her the sixth, I think, actress or sixth actor or actress in this, from that universe.
From
because
GOT.
because Game of Thrones actors they appear kind of regularly in the MCU.
Yep. They just scout him from there. They're like, ooh,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
get on here. Game of what now?
She's really her role as Ghost is just pretty cool. Her character is based off of the character of the Ghost in Marvel Comics, which is male and is an Iron Man villain. Basically with the same powers. It's not quantum realm powers, but in the comics, the character of Ghost, it's a he. They can go through walls like the way
phase.
and they have that weird gas mask like face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we're giving away
Ghost
Pop.
Oh, we are giving a Ghost pop away.
More
but
on that
she was,
later.
She was pretty she's pretty awesome in this role because she plays this lady named Ava who's kind of like, you can totally tell she's crying all the time because of what the quantum realm does to her. Like apparently the Ghost in this, the reason she phases in and out of stuff is because her cells are being ripped apart. Like she was affected by the quantum realm,
and
basically.
put back
at a young
together.
age.
Yeah, she's got a tragic backstory where she had to watch her parents die because her dad got fired by Hank Pym on
Right,
a project.
yeah.
So now she's on the vendetta to one, save herself because she's dying, like she's deteriorating. But two, obviously, it's that revenge, I guess, story to
Right.
the Hank Pym.
But the way she plays the character is really cool because she seems very evil and almost like kind of, there's something off about her. But then you realize that like when she starts talking about what's going on, the process of ghosting, kind of
Ghosting.
the process of ghosting.
Of getting ghosted.
They should have called the Ghost Hunters.
hurts her, so it looks like she's literally like in pain and crying
They should
like
call
all
the
the time.
Ghostbusters.
So she's pretty awesome in this role. What's another new
Walter
addition?
Goggins.
Walter Goggins as Sonny Birch,
Sonny Birch.
black arms dealer from the comics,
Yep.
an Iron Man villain again.
Another Iron Man villain.
Quentin Tarantino alumnus.
Quentin Tarantino
For real.
alumnus. Walter Goggins was awesome.
Flawless.
I wish he would have done a little bit more in this movie, but he was pretty good at what he was doing.
Now, is his character someone from the comic books or no?
Yes, Iron Man
yes,
villain.
he's an Iron Man villain, or normally tangles with Iron Man. It's a black market like dealer. Same thing goes. I think he's an arms dealer in the comics.
He plays a good Southern villain.
Yeah, I like how Ant-Man does say that eventually. He's like, has anybody seen a Southern gentleman?
Yeah, around here.
And then you have Laurence Fishburne as
Bill Foster.
Bill Foster,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Goliath.
They DH him too, I believe. In
Yes,
this
they
movie,
do.
don't
Yeah,
they?
he looks like he's straight out from Boys in the Hood. And I'm like, damn, this looks awesome.
You know, I read an article, with, an interview with the director, and he said the scariest thing about de-aging him and Michelle Pfeiffer and even Michael Douglas is these aren't characters that people don't know. These are people you can watch a movie of
and you
Michelle
do
Pfeiffer
know.
younger,
You remember.
or Laurence Fishburne younger, or Michael Douglas younger, and you
Yeah.
have that to compare them to. This isn't
Yeah.
like some random,
kind of
character who just
Kind of
needs to be younger.
intimidating, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like,
But they did such a good job.
They do, yeah. And it's funny because I look at this tech and you're like, man, even in the stuff that they did with like Rogue One with Carrie Fisher,
Yeah.
I'm like that stuff looks like miles like behind from this stuff.
oh yeah,
We don't.
definitely.
Which is
It's kind
crazy.
of crazy.
We don't need actors anymore.
Or like Tarkin. Like Tarkin, I'm like, man, why couldn't they use this same one, this same technology, but for that? But because, damn, it looks way fake compared to this stuff.
So that was pretty cool. That Bill Foster makes an appearance, especially the mention of Goliath, which is another name which is really another suit. In the Ant-Man universe, you know, you have Yellow Jacket, you have Ant-Man, you have Giant Man, and then you have Goliath, which is, I think there's even more probably, no doubt. But Goliath is one of the Giant Man suits, and they do mention that program from I think the 70s or something like that, which is pretty cool. Another addition would be, who would another new addition be with this? Yeah, Jimmy Woo. Randall Park plays Jimmy Woo. I think we talked a little bit about him. He was in Fresh Off the Boat.
Fresh off that boat.
Jimmy Woo is a comic character. Is a character from the comics who starts like a superhero spy team called like the Agents of Atlas,
Boom.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and then he's got a charming sense of humor, I think.
Yeah, and he's pretty great.
He's just
in this movie.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And like you can tell he has to float the line between bad guy and like good guy, but he does it very well. He's a very likable character. I think in pretty much anything he's in.
Right. Yeah, and then we got the big one. Really, I mean, I guess did we talk
Michelle
about her?
Pfeiffer.
Yeah. I guess we can go ahead and just like start there.
Well,
we
they-
have Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, they show some of her, not her, but some of the Wasp in the first Ant-Man
first one,
movie, but we don't actually see her face. So they
Clever.
could have classed
Very
it.
clever.
They could have classed it. They could have casted anyone, really. But
Yeah,
it-
I think at one point,
Helen-
which is really funny. Some
Helen Mirren.
trivia. Yeah, no, some trivia is like Evangeline Lilly, who plays Hope Van Dyne, the Wasp in this movie. She said that she wanted to have Michelle Pfeiffer cast as the Wasp eventually. This was around the time they were doing press for the first movie. Michael Douglas said that he would like to have his wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones, play the Wasp.
Catherine.
And I thought,
Zeta-Jones.
I thought she could probably do a good job. I was like, oh yeah, I can see it too.
A
It's just really funny
Latina.
how they kind of like chose Pfeiffer for it, but
Yeah.
Pfeiffer did a really good job at this.
Yeah.
Coming off of what is it? Mother.
Dark Shadows. No, Mother.
What?
well, she's not. I mean, after we see her for a lot of the movie, I felt, man, I can't wait for a whole movie with her.
It's just
Because
so.
she's really smart, right? Like her
Right.
character is now also a god or something.
And then also the fact is that her character itself, and this is just like, I'm gonna echo something that Hope Van Dyne said in the first movie. It's about damn time. She's Janet fucking Van Dyne, like Janet Van Dyne.
Janet Van Dyne?
Janet Van Dyne, the Janet Van Dyne.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
From the Catalina wine mixer.
Janet Van Dyne. I mean, obviously we've said it earlier, is the fucking Wasp in the comics. Like she's like, she's one of the founding members of the Avengers. Like you see her in everything Avengers related almost except the movies, which was like really weird for like even for like me and Andrew, like watching the Avengers cartoon and being familiar with like the earlier comics like Marvel Zombies and stuff that we kind of turned us on to Marvel. It was bizarre to not see an actual active Wasp character in these movies.
The Avengers you got, like the Avengers you currently get both in comics and in the movies and cartoons, are very modern Avengers because, again, John's right that she is a very pivotal character for the Avengers inception with Hank Pym. They're kind of the original almost power couple, you know?
Yeah, so to get that in this movie, it's pretty awesome. And then you also get like a new incarnation of them with Scott Lang and Hope's character.
Yeah.
So that's what to me that's what was really cool about this movie is the fact that that you have Janet Van Dyne played by Michelle Pfeiffer who knocks it out of the park. Like I don't know why she doesn't get. Or maybe I'm just not watching enough of her movies. Maybe, but I was like, she should.
That's
be
on
more,
you, John.
Last
she
one was
should
Mother,
be in
right?
like way more. Yeah. She was great.
She's
in
in
Mother.
Mother?
She's in Mother. She was great in Mother.
I thought she should have got a nomination.
Yeah,
Academy
Best
Award
supporting
nomination.
nod for that one. Yeah, and then so like she rounds out basically the new cast here, and then we get into like really the fun stuff, which is an actual like pairing up of like after a quick introduction to Scott's life, we realize that he has a connection to Janet's character.
Yeah, he sees her.
yeah.
Or sees the things she sees.
Well, I think he's kind of like mentally linked with her,
He becomes her.
basically. Yeah.
I said that weird.
But and then we're reintroduced to Pym and Hope's character.
Yeah.
Which were like they kind of
They've
hate Scott.
But they've been working towards this forever.
Right, exactly.
And
Now
Scott
they-
is the key. They want what's in his head.
Well, yeah, and then he was also proof that you can come back. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, maybe she
They
survived.
need him. Let's talk about Hope's character, played by Evangeline Lilly. I read somewhere that she had very specific things that she wanted to do with her character that the director definitely agreed on. One of the things is something I noticed. It's kind of weird, but there were scenes in the movie, and I was like, man, her hair is messed up. But I don't know if you noticed that. But
Yeah.
that was on purpose. She said she didn't want, because she did a lot of her own stunts in this movie.
Yeah.
She said she hates in action movies where the girl character gets in a fight and then
Her hair
everything
is
is
perfect.
perfect, the makeup is perfect. So she says, after I do this stunt, we're going to film, this is whatever is
The
there.
actual-
This is like the way it is.
Well, and it's awesome because obviously they try to
And I don't like it. I'm just kidding.
they try to minimize the variation because she always puts her hair into a ponytail.
Yeah.
When she puts the suit on.
But it's cool because it just shows almost this weird reality to how messy her job is.
Yeah.
Which is she fights
Well,
people.
And it's the same thing with her fighting style. She said that it was really tough trying to come up with a specific fighting style because so much groundwork has already been laid down by other characters. Like Black Panther fights a certain way.
She got
Scarlet Witch, Black Widow,
You got
Captain America.
You got Black Widows.
you have-
wrap around the head.
You got Wonder Woman stuff.
Yeah,
like,
Wonder
just
Woman.
like
so
the way-
it's so
What?
hard.
Wonder
to-
Woman?
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
she's
the way,
crossing
like, the
over.
fighting.
But it's so hard to again distinguish and make her stand out.
But she shrinks too, so
Yeah,
come on.
right. And then she said she looked to the comics and she said back in the day that they were just over sexualized, like her moves. It's just because she was,
Definitely, 'Cause there was a character created by like men, basically.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
and
exactly.
There are people who go to these movies thinking that same.
Yeah,
still.
exactly. Which I'm glad that
Like
she.
me, I'm just kidding.
I'm glad that she chooses to evolve this character like that because she said obviously she's doing her research and she's trying to stay true to the comics, but also again,
bring it out of a stereotype. that
sure,
it's
yeah,
usually
and mush
been,
it
yeah.
forward.
And
forward.
in a way that she is one of the. I mean, obviously Scott Lang is the main character, but she's. This is really close to being her movie
Yeah,
because it's a search for her mom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think I want to say that maybe I think she has a little bit even more action time than Scott
Yeah.
in this movie.
She
And
definitely does.
And it works remarkably well. Like in the comics, she flies around with these wings, and she uses these little blasters like on her hands. They kept that. Like I didn't think they
Yeah.
were going to keep the blaster part, which is really, really cool.
She throws shit. Yeah.
Yeah, she throws shit out of her like little blasters, and she also like she can shrink stuff. She throws the shrinking and those little enlarging discs.
Well,
out.
Scott, the majority of this movie, she's the driver of the plot.
Right,
Really,
exactly.
because Scott is always. He's juggling so many things: his home life, him needing to be
His end game is his home life, though.
Yeah,
like,
to
that's
be
what
home.
Stuff, yeah.
The business that needs to take off.
Well, and I think
and
his
he feels
end game-
bad about the pimps.
His end game is his family, and I think he's trying to make the Wasp his family.
You, yeah,
You know?
baby.
And I think that's
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
basically it. Like, he needs a partner.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
they talk
That's
about
what
that.
they
definitely.
keep talking about in
She
the,
even says in the film, like, if I was with you in
in Civil War,
yeah,
then you probably
you
wouldn't
would
have
have gone
lost.
away, which
yeah.
I definitely believe. Because,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, apparently they were like actually dating. Like that's what it sounded like.
Oh
They
my God,
were
were they like dating?
Well,
Yeah.
that's because she said there were other stuffing together, and then like
Whoa, stuffing.
Stuffing.
yeah,
together.
I knew you guys were going to take that away from it, but
Like,
like
some cornbread in a turkey's
you
ass.
stuffed her like a Thanksgiving turkey.
anyway, they
Whoa.
were doing that. So like she really does feel like
Liar,
kind
liar.
of pissed and betrayed by Scott,
Yeah.
like going off to help Captain
Yeah.
America
And
because
I-
he like
And Hank too, right?
And-
Like he
well,
took his suit.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I did love that part about the movie was that like because of his actions in Civil War, they were on the run. So it kind of added to the atmospheres
Yeah.
that they couldn't stay in one place for long. So they needed to have everything that was mobile. Someone told me they're like, I didn't like I think it was Clayton. This is for you, Clayton. I know you're listening. Anyway, he said he didn't like the fact that everyone was racing for the lab, but I think it was kind of cool because again they need to have everything that's portable and things like that, and of course they got creative. One of my favorite shots is when they're in the woods and they shrink down the lab, but there's a bunch of FBI agents behind, it.
them,
So
yeah.
you
It's
know,
a literal MacGuffin.
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, most definitely.
A MacGuffin is a muffin from McDonald's. So you guys know, and we love it. That's why we call everything a MacGuffin.
Exactly.
Because we like it.
Everyone chases it too.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm just kidding. It's a Hitchcock thing. Look it up.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. Look it up right now.
Why would a
I'm just kidding.
MacGuffin wouldn't be a McDonald's thing?
Yeah,
It is
a muck.
Yeah, a
Muffin.
Mac Guffin.
You,
muck muffin.
muffin.
Do you guys think that what was the purple guy from McDonald's?
Grimace.
Do you think he ever got like laid?
The Infinity Stones?
Do you think Grimace got laid?
Do you think Grimace got laid? Do you think
Let us know in the comments.
exactly.
who was the girl in the McDonald's thing?
Yeah.
The pigtail.
Yeah, that was
Oh
the
my God, I can't
Hamburglar.
remember.
The Hamburglar Grimace.
Ronald McDonald, and then no one
And
remembers
then
the other one.
Big Bird. I'm kidding. Anyways, let us know. Let us know. Tweet us.
For Grimace.
Tweet us all of the cast of McDonald's and find out where they are now.
Boom.
Because they're also superheroes. You know what? I'm going to vote for Disney to buy McDonald's. Because we got to see those guys in a Marvel movie. But yeah, so there's a lot of really critical parts of this movie is great. But I love that it really just boils down to family, and it must
Family.
be one of the hardest things to follow the tone of Infinity War with a movie this light and this fun and the stakes that are pretty low.
I feel like
Yeah,
they're
personal.
low, but they're also very. It very does tie into what all these stakes in these bigger movies are about. Because like, if you're fighting to save the world, you're fighting to save people you don't know because you know
Yeah.
they're
We're
suffering.
all family.
But exactly, yeah.
are family.
That's
Let's
just like-
participate. Hands across America.
You save the world or you save stuff so that your friends and family can be safe. Like
Yeah, ultimately.
first and foremost. And this movie emphasizes that, big time, really.
The reason why
Big time, no pun
Because even
intended.
Bill Foster's trying to save Ghost because of
He's kind of like an adopted father.
kind of like an
almost.
adopted father to that character.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's still
Yeah.
really cool.
And it's funny that we say it's the father son thing because in this one it's the daughter.
daughter,
father,
father, and
because-
then mother.
Yeah, you
involved.
get-
daughter, mother,
You get Scott's daughter. You
and
get
father, daughter.
You get Hank Pym and the Wasp, and then you get Bill Foster, which is Goliath and Ghost. So it's pretty awesome. I like it. I like all these.
What did you think about his prison gang and
Prison Gang,
them-
T.I.?
There's a lot of comic relief in this, but they are
Definitely.
really funny.
Really fun?
They
this
are.
movie.
They're really. I think they're a little better here than they were in the first movie.
Baba
which
Yaga.
is pretty great. Yeah,
How great was that truth serum thing?
That bit,
with
the
the way
little bit.
what's his name? Michael Pena. What's his
Michael
actor's name?
Pena.
Pena.
Michael Pena and his titular explaining of a story.
Yeah.
But to have it be, what can make this better is give him truth serum and have him, describe a ton of stuff that way.
Yeah, I know, and I think everybody was waiting for it.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you heard the drums, it was to the point where they were,
damn it.
everyone kind of started to cheer.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome because they made so many memes and videos about things like
Yeah.
that too.
Well, it's a really clever montage And it reminds me of almost like Drunk History style, where
I think
people are mouthing the things that.
Yeah.
You guys don't think it's really interesting that that's probably like an Edgar Wright thing that they just poured over into
That
the
is
sequel?
interesting, but
Like,
yeah, it's good.
It's good.
yeah, if it's good, just keep it, which is pretty cool.
I think when you think about these Marvel movies and what makes them their own, and this is one of the things you throw into Ant-Man as being kind of a motif.
Now it's
just like dancing
trademark,
in
yeah.
80s movies is like a
Guardians thing or
Guardians,
something, yeah.
Thor Ragnarok thing. I was kidding.
Oh,
But yeah, I think that's one of the Ant-Man things of the movie.
he's messing with the.
It's okay.
He was literally looking at it, and I was like, I heard you.
We're recording
jumping
this in the living room, and my dog likes to eat wires
Yeah.
So
But
he's-
it's cool. It's
he's
fine
eating all the equipment.
because he poops batteries, and it's very economical
right, yeah.
for us. Yeah, one
He's
time
like that dog Axel.
Oh, he shit a car battery out once, and it was great. We got to put some of those jumpers on our nips later.
Ooh, cool. He's like Nibbler from Futurama.
Yeah. Let's talk about the quantum realm for a little bit. Since you guys know comic books, does this have any connection at all to Thanos? Or I know the quantum realm and all the things we explored means power because Michelle Pfeiffer can heal people now.
Yeah.
But what is there that may be important to? I mean, I know it's a lot of power, but what is it? Enough power, or more power, or less power than the Infinity Gauntlet? Or
Yeah.
is that where we're gonna send Thanos?
I actually don't know a lot about the quantum realm in the comics, or if it is a big
Is
thing
it-
in the comics.
I don't know.
I think it is actually more based in like real science of like what happens if you keep getting smaller and smaller. Half of
You
the
end
half
up
of the half
bigger.
of the half.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the inner space thing. They have a video called Powers of 10 or whatever where it'll show you like, oh, we live like here's the skin cells, and then it goes out
Yeah.
10
to the galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. And then it goes in, so it shows you that basically in a cell it's built like a galaxy,
Yeah.
So you
Wow.
start to go in and
Wow.
so there's this whole other universe.
It's like the end of Men in Black 2.
yeah.
Oh, wait, 3. Was that the one with the aliens in the locker room?
I think that was the Men in
that
Black
two?
1. Was that Men in Black
Sure.
1?
Yeah, I think that might have been one. Or so the quantum realm is in the comics. It's called the microverse.
Microverse.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, that would have been a stupid name if they called it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically the worlds within worlds within worlds within worlds
Yeah,
type
see?
of theory.
Exactly.
So there's some shit going on in there.
Yeah, and so like
Yeah.
it's basically the microverse is basically only accessible through shrinking, and that's basically what they deal with. That's the name they deal with in the comics. This one, the quantum realm, is pretty much maybe visually different because obviously they have to do something a little different for that. I think it's awesome. I don't know if it's too much related to Infinity War stuff as it is to Doctor Strange stuff because it's the microverse.
Multiverse, yeah.
Yeah, the microverse is basically a different universe. So like the
Right.
quantum realm is its own little universe. So I think it has potential going forward to kind of cross into stuff like Doctor Strange and maybe Captain Marvel. I heard that there's a rumor that it's going to play some sort of role in the upcoming Captain Marvel film. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I mean, I feel like that's where it can go.
Yeah.
As far as like Infinity War stuff, I don't know, maybe. They do mention towards the end, and we'll talk more about that specific scene towards the end, but in that scene, they do mention a time vortex, which I got some Doctor Who vibes out of it because, the time vortex is that circular tunnel that the Doctor travels through.
Well, when he does
So-
shrink down, it is kind of a similar sequence even than Doctor Strange when he goes through all of those different
Right.
experimental dimensions. We see cells and what's inside of cells, and then what we interpret is
interlinked.
inside of that. It's insane, and I think it just adds to another pretty complicated layer of the Marvel
Of already-
Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're only doing it in this movie is really kind of unique because you're
Yeah.
at least so far because like you're not really getting any explanation in any other movie.
Yeah.
Like so,
This
like
is it. This is the
right exactly.
This is
So
where we
like
see it.
this is where you learn from it, and then I want to just talk about it visually. It looks kind of very 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 trippy. Which
It looks
is really cool.
expensive. That's what it looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah, it does. Yeah,
For real.
it is an expensive place. This quantum realm.
Because things are shaking. Now, I don't know. There are no beings?
You can almost like see sound because it almost looks like everything there is like almost like sound
Are
frequencies.
there
like, just
things
like-
in there other than humans, or no?
There's a mention again at the end where like Janet's character,
Yeah.
Pfeiffer's
She
character,
learned or whatever.
She says like don't step near a specific something because it
Yeah.
will eat you.
Interesting,
And
because
it's just kind of weird. Like,
she got that shirt from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so she and she was like she's
Well,
kind of like a almost like a like a Mad Max type of like character, like wandering.
They're pushing the envelope
thing.
of what will fit into the ethos of Marvel. Because if you think about it, there's the galaxy, there's all of these dimensions.
Well, yeah,
and
and
you have this crazy tiny thing happening.
It's the same thing where it's that powers of 10. Where like, yeah, we zoom out, we got Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But we zoom in, and this is where Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man here.
And only
Takes
when
place.
there's a threat for all of that
Yeah.
will they need some insane thing. But can you imagine an Ant-Man movie that takes place majority of the time in someone's dick?
Oh,
Oops.
Right, exactly.
Something small.
Yeah, see, exactly. They can pull some Osmosis Jones like shit.
Ooh.
Yeah, like
where
Jen-
like, hey, go in there and like
The Fantastic Voyage.
Did
type
Ron
of
Howard
stuff,
make
yeah.
Osmosis Jones?
Yeah, he did. I
Oh,
thought
yeah,
he did,
we did talk about that, right?
We did.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I loved Osmosis Jones, guys.
Boom! I loved Anatomy Park, Rick and Morty.
I watched both of those things, but I watched one of them in school for health class, and I was like, "This is awesome. This is what we should learn all science for movies." Yeah.
Windrix.
And we watched Flubber in science class too.
Yeah.
Man, that was there's no science in that, is there?
No.
Oh, who boy, too soon. Who do your Robin Williams impression?
The hot dog.
Nice.
Remember? Boom! You couldn't see it, but it was good. Mrs. Doubtfire. Check it out.
Well, guys, we're gonna take another break. When we return, we'll talk a little bit more about no trivia game.
Oh, ooh.
Sorry, we're gonna wait until the Blu-ray. We'll have a trivia game later, but we'll take a little break, and when we return, we'll finish up our thoughts on this beautiful movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Bzzz.
The situation I'm at the bases in. I'm kind of stingy, that's why I don't.
Maybe.
I mean, it's half
Wait.
of all life in the universe.
Is it
all life?
Wait, it's all life?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all life.
plants. Some of the plants.
So we went from like 10 pandas to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
That's bullshit.
That's kind of crazy, right? Like, so Thanos is just like,
bougie.
You know,
there was 2 elephants, now there's 1.
we haven't done our Jurassic World 2 episode yet, but I just want to say one thing. I'll say 2 things. They can clone anything, and they keep cloning dinosaurs. They could clone anything.
Dragons.
Are we gonna do a Jurassic World episode?
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
that movie
Oh, for
is like,
sure.
holy hell.
And also, they
That
have
movie is bonkers
they have a
weird.
gun that they can point at a person to tell a dinosaur to kill.
to kill it, yeah.
But when you have a gun pointed at someone, just
shoot him with a gun.
shoot him with the gun you already have pointed at them. Right?
Why do you need to like?
Why do you need to maybe mess up?
No, they can trace this bullet back to us. They can't
It's
trace
just-
the dinosaur
It's
back
just
to us.
fucking insane.
Everyone has dinosaurs. They will not be able to trace that raptor back to us.
They can trace the bullet. Fuck that though.
I know. Is that the point? Is to be like it? Just fucking raptor attack, bro. Anyways, welcome back to Ant-Man and the Wasp / Jurassic World 2. Gun dinosaur pointing. Oh boy.
Buoy.
Let's keep talking about Ant-Man. What's an ant and what's a man?
Oh, I
I'm
don't
just
think.
kidding.
I don't think
Hot
you do not want to come to this podcast. For
I
that
thought this
definition.
I thought Ant-Man was spelled AUNT/MAN, and I thought it was a Mrs. Doubtfire type situation.
and then you were your ideas basically was almost confirmed when you heard that Paul Rudd was in this movie.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like, oh, yeah.
he does sound like an ant.
Hey
man.
guys, Paul Rudd, keeping it tight, keeping it right. Am I right? Keeping it fit,
What are you
keeping
talking
it
about?
lit.
Oh, I know what you seen
Talking
at the
about
beginning.
his hot bod.
Yeah,
Keeping it ripe.
it's so weird. I think they have an obligatory like shirtless,
But
male Marvel
TBH, they
shot,
showed him
which is
from the
kinda
side,
weird.
though.
Yeah.
They showed him from the side and not straight up.
How sweet is his bod?
He's like 50.
No, I saw him in This Is 40. He's 40. Because This Is 40.
Yeah, oh, I think I saw a movie.
Apatow was lying.
This is 50.
Yeah, I saw a trailer for that Mila Kunis. What's the girl that trailer that came out? She's like, we're in our 30s, and I was like, you're not in your 30s.
Oh,
You fucking liar.
You were a teenager during the 70s.
Yeah.
I think you're like I think you're 70
That's what
years
you're
old.
Hanging out down the street.
The same old thing. But yeah, what else do you guys want to talk about?
so
Go ahead.
kind
John.
of the
So like
the giant man appearance in this movie is
Yeah.
pretty wild. Actually,
What about the little man one? Where
Yeah,
he
I
was
guess
in
that
the-
one
in the
too.
school
Yeah,
also.
the regulator.
that gave me flashbacks of Deadpool too, a little when he's
The
a
baby
baby.
legs?
Yeah.
No, I think it's pretty cool. Like the way you said earlier, like it kind of makes
Oh yeah.
like the it makes sense earlier when you said like
Yeah.
basically that like what did you say? What it says it's
It's
basically
the
like
little
way-
man one where he said the baby legs.
Well, the baby leg stuff, but it's also like what Delphin said earlier about being like having size difference anyway. Like it's comedic. Like you see like a giant salt shaker get like it's over. Like, it's strong. It's becomes huge, and then it knocks out a person. You're just kind of like, yeah, okay, cool. And then at one point, there's a Pez dispenser that's blown up to a giant weapon.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Ant-Man, there was just a huge spider in there.
It's
not an ant.
That's Spider-Man, man, bro.
Emmanuel encountered a spider right now. He just want to go kill it.
It's okay.
Now it's cool. We were talking about bugs.
Yeah, boom. We're talking about ants.
This whole movie is about a bug man.
Huge spider.
How big was the spider?
It was at least the size of a dollar.
It was at least the size of a
shit.
dollar.
Oh, what?
Of a dollar bill.
No. It's like this big.
Yeah, that's a silver dollar.
A dollar is like
Dollar
6
bill.
inches long.
You're thinking spiders aren't square.
It was a
Just
fucking tarantula.
Yeah. It's a pretty
Spider-Man.
wide spider.
Boom.
Ants.
But yeah, I think you're right, John, on that whole subject matter. I guess in general.
What are you talking about? Just being it just looks funny when things get big and small.
Yeah, well, and that's where I think they haven't.
Like this dick.
Nice. I think that's something that they haven't explored a lot all the way. They did with the little building stuff and the Hot Wheels thing and the Pez a little bit, but I think it can go so much further.
Oh, yeah.
Much further.
Well, that's what they did that whole. I think that's where you brought it back around.
When
to.
he was a giant Man, I would have just made a burrito huge and just eat this, and then now he's got energy.
Oh, yeah. Or eat
something like
this,
that.
all of starving everyone.
Yeah.
Boom. Fixed hunger.
I'm ready to see
that's true, yeah.
I'm ready to see full on kaiju fight or
Yeah.
him work with Wakanda to be hey, yeah,
They-
here's this drop of water, boom.
They can take over the world. For every one person, there's probably 1 million ants, and they just have to make them all big, and
guess it-
boom.
but I guess it-
Welcome to War of the Planet of the Ants.
Boom, ants.
I guess it shows the weirdness of why. I mean, how isolated Pym is to the rest of the world, though, because it does show. I mean, you've already hinted at one point that Pym fired some dudes or some girls,
Yeah.
father.
But he said that he was a traitor.
Well,
He
yeah,
stole
that's the weird
his
thing
tech.
because
Yeah,
they
but
don't.
you're
they
not
don't,
sure whose side.
exactly because he says that kind of in a rage.
Yeah.
And he says that in a rage, and then he kind of which is kind of weird. He's Bill Foster's filling that girl's head with lies, even though you literally saw a scene before that full of exposition that
he's not.
he's not doing that at all, which
I-
is really funny because and then I think that's a hint to the actual, maybe an homage to the actual character that Hank Pym is, which is he's kind of got a lot of secrets, a lot of skeletons in his
You know what's
closet.
weird, though, is he's not... Is he apologetic at all at
He's
this movie?
really not.
No, he's like,
No,
I'm
he's an
sorry, I
asshole.
fucked all these scientists up. Oh, well, let me get my girl.
Or even then,
Yeah.
he's like, you
He's
never apologize. He's like, no, he just fires the best people. He's like, yeah, I fire mediocrities or something like that.
He's sorry your name wasn't on the side of the building. Mine was. Get the
Ooh.
fuck out.
Yeah, he's basically that person.
Which is weird because I think that was maybe a way for him to have some kind of redemption. But you're right. A lot of the times I was wondering whose side was I supposed to be on. I gave you too much
This
whiskey.
is a huge glass of whiskey he just poured me, guys.
Well,
A
John-
giant glass of whiskey.
Like my hero, William Jefferson Cosby once said,
Oh my God,
fill it up.
you're cutting that, right?
Nope, leaving it
Okay.
in.
Anyway, go on.
But yeah, I think that we don't see a lot of him being the way I guess he is in the comic books. It's a dark turn to make, and this movie is very light. But at some point, he should deal with it as a character. I think that
definitely.
would be the next time they CGI him younger. It should be him the way he was in the lab. Maybe he was
Or-
actually awful.
That's why he needs the beauty to tame the beast. It's just like Black Widow and the Hulk. Boom. Sun's getting real low.
So yeah, so I guess Janet's his beauty then. I guess
Yeah.
just kind of calms him down.
Oh no, Michael Douglas is the beauty.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my bad. It was the
Well,
other way around.
I'm excited to see that dynamic because you're right. They were the power couple of that time. And we got a little hint of that in this movie, of them working together. And seems like she's a little smarter than him too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Which
oh
is
man,
really cool.
And that scene where she takes over Scott, hilarious.
Oh yeah,
That was too funny.
super funny. It was a little weird, but
Yeah.
super cute.
I love the fact that Pym, Douglas's character Pym is actually loving this. He's kind of he's going with it, and it cuts back to Evangeline Lilly as Hope, and she's kind of touched by what's going on at times, but for the majority, she's kind of staring at him kind of weird. This is a weird moment between all three of us, and Pym is just completely infatuated by what's going on. He's smiling, and he keeps his hand held with with Scott. It just looks really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how he did that. I mean, I'm sure he's a funny actor, Paul.
They probably had like delivery. No doubt that they probably had like Michelle Pfeiffer say the lines or maybe just record them, and then he probably like tried his best to
And
like
acted the way
Yeah.
she acted.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, really, really funny. And I think that's what's good about Paul Rudd is he has great comedic timing.
Yeah, definitely.
There are times that need to be awkward that he makes awkward, and then there's times for him to be super sincere, and he is. Like when he asked for the juice box in the car or the van.
Oh yeah.
And that's what was funny, not because he was goofing off, but he was genuinely. But I think that just the best dynamic in the movie is him and his daughter. It's just so
Yeah.
good.
Him and his daughter, and him and Hope.
Yeah.
Like I think him and Hope are
God,
really.
Paul Rudd would be a great dad, huh?
Paul Rudd, yeah, would be a great dad.
I want him
Yeah.
to be my daddy.
Man, that magic stuff where he's like, I went to the
Oh,
length
forgot
of
about
this,
the magic.
of this magic, and then everyone's like, how you do that?
And then the FBI
Every single
agent
person.
who's like, magic.
What's the guy's name?
That's
Bobby
just the thing.
Knievel? Bobby
Yeah.
Knievel or something?
Yeah, he was funny. Get
He's-
inside this.
He's hilarious. He had a huge role in the first one, obviously. Like he was like basically
Yeah.
almost one of the
The
antagonists.
rivals, yeah.
In this one, he's just almost like basically a
hugs.
glorified cameo. Yeah, and literally all hugs.
He has kind of a weird joke that he always says is when the ex-wife would be like, well, you can't do this. And he kept saying,
Yeah, you
they
can,
can.
yeah.
I don't know. That was weird to me. I was like,
He's like
was-
ice.
I
think
mean,
it was-
he's a policeman, but yeah, I was like, oh, that's
I think
kinda
it's
weird.
weird because that first time it happens, they cut away. You think there's going to be more to the scene, and they kind of cut away
Yeah.
as soon as they're
And then he
like,
says it 2 more times.
yeah.
And I was like, is this supposed to be a comment? Is this political?
Yeah,
Because
nice.
then I don't like it. Leave politics out of movies about ants. That's all I ask for. When I watch Ants when Woody Allen is in it, political. When I watch A Bug's Life and there are carnies in it,
And they're
trying to get us to like carnies.
Yeah, fat shaming
shit.
Heimlich.
both those movies are political. Now that you think
Political.
about it. Fuck.
Well, the movie Them from the 30s about the gigantic
And
ants.
they're watching that at the end of this movie.
That was super political. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all about
Yeah.
radiation and stuff.
Radiation, yeah.
But yeah, too political. That's all I want, Hollywood.
Leave ants alone.
Leave ants out of it, okay? There are no red ants or blue ants, although there are.
Yeah, I, mean,
I think they're all red
I think they're all red in this
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
What else?
Some of them are black.
So the ants in this movie, how about the ants themselves? They make some
Great
really cool
characters.
things.
They didn't have one. I guess the one in the house that was copying him was the
playing the
funny one.
drums.
But I'm glad they didn't name them because the scene with the seagulls.
They did
Oh, he
name
was
them.
naming them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When they
was
were
it
dying, that made me so sad.
Antoinette, Antonio Banderas,
And they kept
Anton.
dying.
Anton. There was another one where he, he tells Wasp, he's like, "Did you like that name?"
Mark
Ulysses
Antony.
S. Ant.
Ant. Yeah.
That's it.
That was a little lame,
Boom.
actually.
That was a good
one.
one.
Was lame.
Ants.
Ant.
Well, even Giant Man is literally
Giant.
Giant Man.
Well, they made a big deal in the first one to talk about the different ants, but in this one they're just like,
They're
Whatever.
just ants.
oh, we have a ton of fucking ants.
Yeah.
They established them already with those.
They're all
Yeah.
worker bee ants.
And it's just weird because they have this whole army of gigantic ants.
Yeah,
and they
they're-
use them
they're
to
big- they're
they
big,
use them
yeah.
to imprison people sometimes, but they never use them to kill ghosts because they could have fucking snapped her head in half
Yeah.
at any point. And what did you think about that scene where Ghost or Laurence Fishburne's character made the daughter off limits for Ghost?
Oh yeah, he's like, "Don't
Remember
touch
that?
her."
And I was
think
like,
that's-
damn, that was a pretty
That's pretty
heavy
crazy
scene.
and pretty strong, and like I feel like that's what kind of speaks to the family nature of this movie
and
because
it-
like
yeah, it
you
literally-
can almost make this an actual family friendly film. Like
But
you could
yeah.
probably
it
watch
shows
this with your
you. It shows you where they draw the line.
That's
Where,
why I
like-
believe Fishburne's character more than Pym's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it seems like he probably
He's nicer.
is, yeah, probably the nicer of
Well,
the
and
two.
Yeah.
everybody's after, like, besides I guess Sonny or whatever. Everyone's after their own interests, which is
Yeah.
good essentially.
Do you think? Well, let's talk about the Stan Lee cameo. Then we can talk about where this thing goes. What do you think about that Stan Lee cameo? Pretty sad considering the
Hilarious.
actual state of Stan Lee's life,
Jesus Christ, we
right?
got real dark.
I mean, anyways, we'll
He's
talk.
like,
about
I don't
it.
remember
No, I
the
mean-
'60s.
I think so. I think that was it was a really cool cameo. I think the delivery of the line landed the first time for me.
Stan Lee's line.
And then
Stan Lee's line.
the second time I thought it was awkward.
He's like, second time I just didn't believe his
Well, no, because
performance.
the way it's just said is like, "Oh man, I had fun in the '60s, but now I'm paying for it." And I was like, "That's kind of okay." Yeah.
Did you know that's one of 20 that he did that
Baby
day?
boomers.
Right, and then it just kind of makes you wonder why they chose that one instead of the other like 19. But it was a really cool cameo. It makes it seem like
John hated
he's been
this
on
cameo.
drugs. It makes it seem like he's been on drugs. I guess that's what
Which I don't know if he's on drugs.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I don't want to say anything like that.
Ibuprofen,
That's a drug, technically.
Tylenol.
Everyone's
He
on
said
drugs.
he had fun in the '60s, just creating a bunch of comic
Pepto-Bismol.
characters.
Yeah,
and
he
just
was
like,
alive. He just got back from the fucking war.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, when this airs, we lost someone kind of dear to the Marvel universe. I just kind of wanted to say it now,
Okay.
or
Yeah,
should we say it during the
goddamn.
plugs?
Oh, the artist.
Yeah,
Steve
Ditko.
Steve
Steve
Ditko,
Ditko.
passed
Ditko.
away. At the
How
age
old
of-
was he? He must have been really old.
90.
At the age of 90, yeah.
He was very old.
But he's famous for literally drawing Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, which is
Yeah,
kinda
he's the OG writer, artist.
artist, yeah. So like
OG,
that kinda,
triple OG.
He
R.I.P.
is Triple G. Who was how many? So Marvel original. How many people were there? There were not that many people there.
big
Jack
ones-
Kirby, Stan Lee. That's it.
Jack Kirby,
I'm
Stanley,
kidding.
and Ditko. Really, I mean,
Yep.
those are the kind of
Yep,
the
yep,
big
yep,
three
yep, yep,
ones
yep.
that and John Romita Senior.
Senior.
So like John Romita Senior.
I hate John Romita Jr.
Ditko.
I do. I for real.
Really? Okay. Hold on.
I hate
Ditko,
his art.
Kirby. So like, but Ditko. I mean, if anyone loves Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, like he created that look. Like
Yeah.
he's the one who drew that. So like
Yeah.
that's really awesome.
Benedict
And it's
Cumberbatch.
super-
He drew him.
Super. Yeah, I mean, it's super sad that he passed. But
Yeah,
you know,
R.I.P.
He lived a long life.
Yes,
lived
he
a
did.
long, fruitful life.
and
Fruitful. Rest in peace.
I think he did something that a lot of people want: is make a legacy that withstands
The test of time.
the test of time.
Right, he didn't get paid too much for it, but like no
Okay.
one will ever forget his characters.
Well, you
There
see
go.
inflation.
And that's what this podcast is. It's our legacy.
Oh, it's like I mean, yeah, we wouldn't be doing this podcast without him. So
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, Queen. Wig. What else do you guys know from RuPaul's Drag Race? The library is open. Do you guys know that?
no.
That means we can throw shade because, wait, shades don't have nothing to do with the library.
Yeah.
Ooh, Shades character in Luke Cage
Boom.
season 2.
Man,
All right,
Marvel's
well,
killing it.
let's talk about where this goes from now. So Antman. Well, let's talk about the ending, I guess.
Oh my
'cause
God,
that
Fucking
big
hell.
battle, all that battle. to
Oh,
get
yeah, you're right.
back
Never mind. Fuck,
Wasp
we just
back,
said-
and then the Giant Man stuff happens.
I think that's
on
pretty
the boat,
self-explanatory though. Like
It's
we
a
don't.
good battle. Well, here's the other thing. I mean, before we go into the the mid credit, but is there a possibility that Ghost and Fishburne
Return.
return?
Maybe.
Does she still have powers,
so.
or is she just a
I
human
I
now?
think it's minimal powers.
I
now.
think she
She's
still
just
has
human.
powers. I mean, they're kind of the end credit scene. Kind of, it's doing that to help her. Like they go into the quantum realm.
To get to
we'll
the
get there. We'll
Oh.
get there. But like you know,
she,
particles.
she needs the meds.
yeah. So like you know, they're working on something for her, and I think like to bring it back to what we said earlier, like I think it's really cool that Ghost. I think it's cool that Ghost kind of like you know becomes this like non-villain at the very end. It's a
Yeah.
little sudden and a little kind of like
It's weird.
maybe just a little weird.
She gets thrown to like the side, and everyone has a happy reunion, and they literally look over and they're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, and I guess
There's Ghost.
that's why though, because you have that happy ending like for everybody else, and this chick is just like suffering really, really bad.
It makes me really sad.
Yeah, and so like, but to have like Janet kind of heal her with her weird godlike powers.
That's
Yeah.
true
There at
too.
the
Like
very
she's
end, yeah.
probably one of the most powerful.
Yeah, Avengers now.
Yeah, she has legit healing powers.
Or ripping like you don't know what else she can do with that.
I mean,
she can probably rip them apart too.
didn't last long. Am I right?
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Also, I thought it was kind of cool that Michael Douglas got to put on a suit in this one.
Yeah.
He almost looked
if
like
you
a
guys
classic.
noticed, yeah, the way the helmet. Oh, sorry, I had to
Yeah,
go for it.
he kind of dons a classic look because most of his original helmet kind of was showed. You know, you saw a lot of his face, so it was pretty interesting to see him and Michelle Pfeiffer suit up too. So you saw basically two generations of the Wasp and Ant-Man.
Even the colors, they're gray and red, which is kind of like one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
original like Ant-Man colors.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All they really needed was like, and I'm sure I thought they were going to do this, which would have been dumb but cool at the same time, but a little bit more dumb. I thought they were going to have antlers out of his helmet because I was like, that's literally what the original Ant-Man helmet looks like.
Yeah,
Because it's just like a little outline over his face and then antlers.
I'm actually
It's
surprised
kind of
as
funny.
to
Or antenna, my bad.
I'm actually surprised as to how many people they were able to get involved in the final act. They got pretty much everybody. Like everybody needs to do something.
I guess that's why they
Pretty interesting.
use Walter Goggins' character a little bit too
They
much.
needed him.
Yeah, because I was kind of
As a
wondering
subplot?
what he was doing there for so long because like they didn't ever reveal his source or whatever. Like
Yeah.
the people that he was working for. Maybe that's like
Ooh,
a
Hydra.
maybe that's like a seed for a future movie.
Yeah. He doesn't die.
But
they give him the truth serum and
yeah, that
That truth serum part was hilarious. Also,
but
again,
But yeah,
True.
I guess so. Like they had to have that part, so they have so they can have Michael Pena and T.I. and David Dalmas involved. Yeah,
That was good.
You like that beloved commercial? No one remembers it.
Fun fact though about the car chase in this movie. Me and Drew actually we were talking about it. There is an actual from Edgar Wright's original Ant-Man script. We don't know if this is true or not, but like I think it's interesting that Edgar Wright's original script had a car chase scene, and that was not in the original Ant-Man movie.
Boom. It ended up becoming Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Or they pulled it like in just for this one.
B-A-B-Y, baby.
That's pretty crazy.
BABB1.
Baba Booey. Oh man, I wish that Howard Stern listened to this show. So let's now that we've seen the beautiful ending, things are they're now in love.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Why'd you say it?
And then you
Love.
laughed right after that, like
Love.
Everybody loves each other.
That's funny.
Everyone's kissing and
no one died. No one died.
No one
died.
literally,
Yeah.
no one died, which is great.
But I think
That
that's
one
why.
FBI agent died. That Ghost probably killed. Like she
Oh, yeah,
stopped
he
his
died.
heart. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
Man, poor bastard.
Maybe. He might have survived.
yeah, he died.
No,
No, he died.
He's pretty
No,
dead.
he might have got his chest amputated.
Maybe. Oh no, Michelle Pfeiffer just needs to touch him, and then he'll be back to life.
Yeah, but that gave you a hint though, because I told John, I said, "Hey, notice that nothing bad happened. Everyone came out of it okay." So that's a hint as to what's about to happen in the after
And
credits.
John
scene.
texted me. That's what made it even worse. What happened?
I did. I texted you
So
this
let's
morning.
let's just talk
Okay,
about what
go for
happened.
it.
Let's talk about
Let's do it. Yeah, yeah.
Everyone gets fucking dusted.
Yeah, just
He goes into the. Oh
and then,
snap!
and then boom. Yeah, all snap. No pun intended.
That's Andrew's pacemaker.
I
Needs
gotta
its
change the
batteries
batteries.
changed.
The batteries.
Why do you have AA batteries? How are we gonna get in there?
Yeah, you just get the
Hold on. Let me just. It goes in through the butt. Okay, cool.
snap.
Let me just get
no.
these.
I was doing the snap.
Oh, I didn't know what you were doing. Sorry. So yeah, everyone gets snapped. Wait, is he protected because he's in
In the quantum realm.
In a different universe, literally.
So Ant-Man is in the quantum realm. Literally, everyone else is outside, just waiting on top of a parking garage
Yeah.
for him to come out. And no one lets him out. And he's like, "Come on, guys!" But it's because everyone got dusted.
Dust.
Yeah, so
Everyone's fucking smoked out.
They're like,
there.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Ooh, they all said that in
Boom.
unison at the same time. He wasn't even there. Mr. Stark wasn't even around.
This is a really dark ending only because nothing bad really happens to everybody at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it was just boom.
And then everything bad.
Yeah,
Lawrence
exactly.
Fishburne, gone.
But you knew it was
Ghost,
going to
gone.
happen, right? Like,
Right, yeah. I mean, that's the funny thing is like I was telling Drew, like I saw this coming from a mile away.
It had to lead up to it.
No, it had to because I was thinking someone's going to disappear. I was like, if this is not happening during the time of Infinity War, then they need to show someone like disappearing
Yeah.
or something like that because that's the only thing that could have happened. In
Yeah.
other words,
I
other
thought
than like Captain Marvel showing up or something.
I thought
like,
minimally what they were going to see was like a screenshot of the aliens coming.
coming down.
And,
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, that would have been just the minimal thing that they would do. Maximum thing, fucking dust them.
Kill them all.
But
Kill
it's-
them all.
Let God sort them out.
really dark because like Ant-Man has no way of literally getting out. I mean, not a lot of people know that the quantum realm really exists.
Yeah.
All the people who do just died.
What if Thanos found out and it's like reality gem? Boom! Take me to the quantum realm. Snap.
Boom. Snap that.
Yeah.
Snap
you
him
just
in
lost
there.
half your body.
Well, you assume that someone's going to try to figure out who's on the roof or something,
This is when
right?
they mentions a time vortex too, which is like
Boom.
you can fall in and do like a time
yeah.
travel thing.
Rumor
like,
has it that they
Yeah.
go
Rumor
back.
has it.
Rumor.
It's Adele.
It's Adele. Ain't no HP Pavilion shit. But basically, there's a rumor that in the next Avengers they go back in time, and you're thinking like, how do they do that? They don't
It's
have
not
the time.
a rumor. It's pretty.
It's
yeah,
a, it's
but if
a
it's not a
rumor.
time
What if-
stone, is it a quantum realm thing?
Yeah, because Thanos has the time stone, so how can Doctor Strange send them back in time? So maybe it's Ant-Man that gets spit out at the wrong time, and then he's able to kind of
That's
usher
true.
in.
Maybe he can figure out, like, you know what? I'm here. Get used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he
Boom.
can find a way to get out
Also,
of there.
there's a report of a teenage Cassie Lang being cast in Avengers 4.
What
Boom.
report is this? Are you spreading fake news?
No.
Hashtag fake news.
There's an actual
Russia.
Cassie Lang,
Lock
like,
him
different
up.
actress,
Lock him up.
different actress than the than who's playing Cassie now, has been cast in the new one.
Damn it.
So it's like a couple of years
What?
later.
I know.
Yeah.
I like Cassie in both movies.
It's,
Well-
it's a teenage Cassie Lang that's coming out in Avengers 4.
So Ant-Man's daughter But older?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of weird.
You know, it's not a time travel does happen because guys, they're filming scenes with costumes from the old one.
Oh no, that's a misdirection.
With their faces shaved, looking like the old one. This is not. Don't be surprised.
Loki's there.
Loki. They film scenes with
Loki's
Loki.
there. Yeah, they film.
Low
Come
key,
on.
low key scenes.
Low key scenes.
Yeah. Boom.
How did that get
I
you?
feel it.
But yeah, this gets right up to that. This gets you right into Infinity War. Excited.
Avengers 4,
prepped,
really.
You should have
ready.
heard the reaction when we saw it at the
Oh,
theater.
yeah.
Everyone immediately was like, "Oh!"
Well, because it's somewhat surprising.
Was it though?
It is because I
It
feel
is and it isn't,
I
but
called
it
it
still
as
is.
soon as we got out of Infinity War. I said, "Hey, you know how that's gonna end? Like this."
Well, it's tonally surprising, I guess. Totally different than the rest of the movie. Happy, everything's great. Boom. It didn't matter. Everyone's gonna fucking die anyways. But let's talk about the second after credit scene.
Even
Oh,
more
yeah.
depressing for a
Yeah,
second.
because
There.
it's almost
Yeah.
as if a zombie outbreak happened, and
Because
like
you hear
all
like the tone, like the emergency broadcast system, which is kind of sad because like it's almost like
The
like,
rapture.
Has anyone seen? Yeah, like the leftovers or like the left behind.
You mean the real life rapture that's gonna happen soon?
whenever
Ma-
God
oh,
snaps his fingers.
No,
You're just like-
Macho Man saved us from the first one. Remember?
What?
He passed away that day. He gave his life to
Oh God.
save us from the rapture.
Oh my God.
Rest in peace, Macho Man.
Randy Savage?
Yeah, Randy Savage.
Oh God.
The one and only. Yep. Boom.
So yeah, you missed the rapture. Not
Yeah, exactly. You
because
already
of-
missed it.
But yeah, this ant is playing the drums.
And he's like, no, not bad actually.
And that was in the fucking trailer. The first after credit scene in the trailer.
It should have been the ant playing the drums, and then you see him start to disappear. Also.
You should have played us all.
So it brings us to the final question of this podcast: did all the ants disappear?
Probably
half of them, but half
Yeah,
of them
half
is
of
just
them. Not all of them.
a billion ants, a billion million ants. So
Yeah.
still
Billion ants went down to 500 million ants.
not that bad. Unless there's maybe an ant can get him out of there. What if an ant pushes a button on a computer?
No, I thought
think
that
that-
Hawkeye could have came down and like, oh, click this button, bring him
But
back.
how does Hawkeye know?
No, but he's not. You know how he's gonna get out of it through the time vortex. He's gonna bump into one, get sucked in, and then get shot back out.
Okay, so now let's go into like actual speculating.
Maybe he'll
stuff.
go so far in
Since you're
that
doing
he
it
comes
anyway.
out.
So far deep that he just pops out.
What if that happens?
What?
I was
What?
thinking no.
He could just go so far in that he's like, "Oh, I'm out here."
I
Now-
think
Oh,
we
I'm
might
Thanos.
get, like, what if we really have no idea what Avengers 4? I mean, we don't really.
We
what
do know.
Avengers 4 is going to be about, and it's going to be like almost like a weird like alternate reality, like Days of Future Past.
Oh,
type
it's
story.
what if it's like the last episode of Lost and it just starts off in a different reality already?
It's just gonna reboot it so that way they can cast a different Captain America and a
'Cause, like,
different Iron
What if
Man.
they ignore the other Avengers? And
if
they just
Ant-Man
make
comes
yeah,
out
all
like
that
super
didn't matter.
deranged?
Huh?
Like if Ant-Man comes out super deranged from the quantum realm, because apparently like Hank Pym was going crazy before Janet got to him and healed his mind.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
true.
and
Like, what if he just comes out like a super, totally different person?
you know
Like,
what's
it's
super
just,
interesting?
It's kind of crazy.
Is that the Age of Ultron storyline in the comic has a lot to do with time travel and a lot to do with Hank Pym. So they're not that
Wow.
far
So, like,
off
yeah.
from that
Yeah.
like subject matter. He's not the one that goes back in time. Wolverine goes back in time to try to kill him to stop him from making Ultron.
Oh my gosh! Do you think if the Fox deal comes through in time,
That they go back in time and they're like Days of Future Past.
boom, we've seen it before, we'll do it again?
Yeah.
No, but do you think if the Fox deal clears in
Hashtag Mutant
time,
and Proud.
they will throw a little bit of that in there?
A little pepper that
pepper
that
a
shit
little,
in.
pepper a little.
Peter, Piper,
expend-
Picker, Pepper.
Who owns Fantastic Four?
Fox.
Ooh, baby!
I don't think they can do a Fantastic Four in this modern time, but I really hope they prove me wrong.
I think they should get Chris Evans to play both the Human Torch and Captain
They
America.
need to make a sequel to the one that Josh Trank made.
Oh shit! Ooh.
Let's watch that shit, huh?
We don't talk about that one.
why you don't-
Fantastic Four 2.
Fantastic Four
42.
Skin. That's what they call that one.
But yeah, exciting stuff. It goes right up there, baby.
Yeah.
Well, let's go right and give our final thoughts. Final thoughts, Andrew. Tell me to go first.
Yeah, Manuel, go first.
Well, guys, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
All right, I'm gonna go first now.
I saw.
what
I saw
liked-
time.
I-
Same time. Let's do it at the
Ready,
same time.
1, 2,
Here we
3, go. What I thought about Ant-Man and the Wasp was... I can't do this.
Okay, you go first.
Okay, so after seeing it 2 times, again, I did enjoy it. I do love that it's about family because it makes it a lot more relatable. Not only relatable, but also grounded, and I like how personal it is. The world wasn't at stake. It's just us trying to get back mom, or us trying to stay clean until I can, visit my family on the outside world again, or, me just trying to live, So it's pretty cool and refreshing. A lot real upbeat, and it's a good movie to make you feel good. After Infinity War, even though the ending is kind of a bummer, but the ending is really more of like a lead-in, and I hope he plays a really, really prominent role in the next Avengers movie, since they haven't given him his due with the team yet. He is a founding member along with, obviously the Wasp isn't going to be around, unfortunately, but that would have been cool to see the Wasp take on Thanos with him. Maybe we still might get that. I did hear that there was a scene that they filmed with everybody, even Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer. I think it was Anthony Mackie or Sebastian Stan that had said that he looked in the room and ended up seeing that, everybody was there. I hope that wasn't him just being on, alcohol, and he mistook the photo shoot for that. But it's leaves me really excited to see both the continuation in Infinity War and in hopefully Ant-Man 3. The box office numbers from Thursday night showings beat both Doctor Strange and the original Ant-Man, which I'm surprised a Marvel movie is going to do good at a box office. It's not a real big surprise, but it's pretty awesome on how fresh they can still be, 20 plus movies in. Boom. Which one of you is next?
It's me.
Rock, paper, scissors? Okay.
Anyway,
John
I
Locke.
win.
I win.
I'm just playing. Ant-Man and the Wasp is freaking fun movie, which is pretty. It's probably the most upbeat Marvel movie out of like every Marvel, everything that we've gotten so far. Really great cast. Everyone's like on top of their game. You can totally tell everyone's having a hell of a time. Like from I don't know about Michael Douglas. I mean, he seems like a kind of serious actor, but like Evangeline Lilly's having a great time. Paul Rudd, he's obviously having a great time.
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena is like having a ball. Everybody who's involved is just like it's so great to be around. Like their fun is infectious. So you can not have fun at this movie, other than Sophia and stuff. But like it is a great it's a great romp. It's awesome. It's a really great follow up to the first Ant-Man movie, which is like kind of weird considering that first Ant-Man movie is a Frankenstein of two different directors. This one is tonally different. I love the weird approach to it, like whether it be like the subject matter of like this quantum realm and stuff like that, or like even just the genre, approach to it too. The film genre approach, which is kind of like I felt like it was going towards the romantic comedy route.
I think it was that, definitely.
Yeah, because it's you still haven't seen that in a Marvel movie yet.
Well, yeah, and I said that this was
since then.
It's pretty much one of the purest comedies because, Guardians
exactly,
is funny and it's one of the funniest Marvel movies, but it wasn't a comedy.
But this
it's
movie
meant
has
to be more serious.
this movie has like giant ants like walking around like and like doing work or stuff.
It
Like
has slapstick. It has when he becomes Michelle Pfeiffer's character. That's
yeah,
like
it's
some
slapstick.
classic.
Yeah. It's
funny.
like it's very
It's
old.
OG.
Triple OG.
Triple OG from the
It's almost
hood.
like Screwball, almost like a
Deuce
like,
Dime.
right? Isn't it like almost like Screwball-ish
Yeah.
comedy stuff?
Yeah, it's. I mean, you could imagine it being in a Mel Brooks comedy film.
Yeah, exactly.
That
And
sequence.
it's great because Peyton Reed has kind of established the universe now. And now people technically, I mean, if they do like this, they're going to want a third one, which is pretty awesome. And I love the lead into Avengers 4. It's a little bit of a bleak ending there for Scott in his own standalone movie because he's kind of stuck there for a
Did you
while.
guys- did you guys see-
everybody back?
Did you see the Ant-Man and the Wasp will return?
Yeah,
Question mark?
Question mark?
Yeah, which is really funny because I guess they gave it away by saying Ant-Man and the Wasp will return.
That's why everyone was like, "Oh," and then they put the question mark, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh." Everyone was like, "Oh," and then everyone was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it should have said Ant-Man and the Wasp and Spider-Man will return? Question mark.
Whoa.
And Black Panther,
Panther
just like
and
all this stuff.
Okoye and M'Baku.
But it was it's a fun movie. Like it kind of gets you over the Infinity War hump there, and then it kind of prepares you for the next phase, which is going to be totally new. Since you're doing Captain Marvel and you're introducing Carol Danvers in the '90s and stuff, which is going to be pretty freaking crazy. So So yeah, and it also that one's going to be a little bit obviously more straightforward superhero movie than I feel like this one is, because that one I don't obviously they're all going to have humor, but obviously that that's not going to be like a comedic movie like the way this one is. So it was refreshing to see this, and I never thought I would actually be an Ant-Man kind of fan.
Well, you hate ants and you hate
men, so it's just like but I didn't think I didn't think I would actually be an Ant-Man fan, like looking forward to more Ant-Man shit basically, and this is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
like to be that way. So
this fucking shit.
Definitely, that's exactly what it's the whiskey. It's the it's the big gulp of whiskey
the
that you
giant
poured me.
man-sized whiskey
That you poured me. Yeah.
Why don't you take another sip, big boy?
Yeah.
I love that was weird. Oh boy.
I love sips.
I love this movie so much. Ant-Man is one of the more unique characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who has a very personal tale, and this movie was so tonally different than the rest of the Marvel movies and definitely different than the Infinity War film that we just watched. And it's a breath of fresh air that I think is required for this moment of time betwixt the twain of two... between the two Infinity War movies, because it reminds you just how personal this is for a lot of the characters. Because we see people who are trying to save the world just because it's the right thing to do. Then we see people who are saving the world because it's something that affects them personally.
And this you get the emphasis.
Because something we don't know is whether Scott's daughter is gone, or whether his family is gone. Like,
right? Yeah.
Other
Exactly.
than the characters we saw dusted, there's some crazy stuff still happening too. But this movie's funny. Peyton Reed has his own, has full control of this movie and the decisions that he's made. I think the female heroines in this movie are very fleshed out.
And the Ghost.
Both Wasps are great. Even the Ghost has a good storyline. And I think Ant-Man and the Wasp have equal footing in my head in this movie, character-wise, and kind of leaning a little bit more to the Wasp in some aspects.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that too, since it's been overdue for her to be in this universe, really. So.
And if you think about it, Peyton Reed is going to maybe make the third one, which means he got to complete
his trilogy,
which is rare in the Marvel
MCU.
MCU.
He will be like James Gunn, basically.
Yeah, it's not. No, I think we talked about it, right? No one else really, other than James Gunn.
Yeah, it does
an
actual sequel. Yeah,
Iron Man
Other
has
than
all
Whedon.
different sequels. Captain America. I mean, the last two are good, but the first one was a different person. Peyton Reed may have his his three.
And Whedon did 2 Avengers movies, and he's out for that third one.
Yeah, so I think it's a great opportunity for him to show just his, I think, reverence to film, because he does model these after he will go out and tell you the 4 romantic comedies that inspired this movie, or what sequences were inspired by something else. So I think Ant-Man is in good hands. I think it definitely has a lot of comedy in it, but yeah, good times. All right, guys. So before we say goodbye until whenever the fuck, do you guys have anything to plug?
Yeah, I do. Listen to I produce a new comic book podcast on the Duff and Pod Network called Fanboy Comics.
Executive produce.
Fanboy.
Executive produce, yeah, exactly.
Fanboy.
You have to, pronounce it the way these two pronounced it, or else you're not allowed to listen to it.
Yeah. Fuck boy.
Fuck boy comics. Have we made this joke already?
Yes, we have. That's why I brought it back
Fanboy. It's Fanboy Comics. Not
Fanboy.
Clayton is not a fuck boy.
Yeah.
Clayton and Mikey are doing some really cool things. If you're a fan of the core characters that we're discussing now in these movies, you may actually get episode on the. You may get an episode of their actual, incarnations on that podcast.
Yeah, actually, Antman and the Wasp just had a comic book series released this past Wednesday, so it's really exciting for these characters, and it helps their evolution when the movies come out. It gets more fans and people interested in the actual source material.
So you buy more of these comics, you may see more of these movies eventually.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they're on Spotify now, Fanboy Comics, so that's pretty cool. But anything else, John, you had to plug?
Fanboy Comics is really cool. Listen to Missed Connections on the Duff and Pod Network.
Yeah, listen to those things. Well,
And
while we're talking about these other shows, that way we don't keep plugging the same thing.
I was going to say, not in theaters.
Well, okay.
No.
We'll
I'm
give
just kidding.
some time to that.
No.
But
Forget that podcast. No, I'm saying no.
Yeah, definitely listen to Non Theaters. It's a new podcast by Lex and Josh. It's really fun.
PCast.
I was on the first episode, and then I wasn't invited back. But they
Horrible guess.
They basically go over some of the movies that or
What if? Like,
yeah,
what
and
if
it's really
scenarios?
fun.
What if scenarios?
I mean, it's like as if the speculation part of this podcast was in the entire podcast.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because you actually get to hear some really cool ideas. But speaking of all the Dolphin Pod shows, we are going to be starting to release little tiny teaser episodes on this channel. So don't unsubscribe, please. If you don't like it, just don't listen to it. But you're going to hear some of the greatest hits from these different shows. And if you like what you hear, definitely find it on wherever you're listening to and subscribe to them as well. Because they're really, really good. And some of them are really close to this in tone.
Yeah.
They're all pretty nerdy.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Pick your poison.
listen to that.
What?
Listen to all of those.
Pick your poison. You like movies? You like?
Oh,
you know,
okay. But don't die.
like-
You're not
you
going to
like
die.
Comics. Oh yeah. No.
Revenge
Yeah.
of the Sequel. Go listen to Revenge of the Sequel,
ROTS.
guys.
Nice.
The OG.
Yeah, the ROTS
I
podcast.
said OG like 10 times.
OG triple OG.
We're kind of on part-time status with that podcast right now, but we
Yeah.
should be releasing more.
We are
throughout the months.
part-time lovers, full-time
Full-time.
friends.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
And all of the podcasts on our sister network, Sticker Fridge, which
Are we
is pretty
sisters?
awesome.
sister.
We're
Brothers.
sister networks.
Oh,
We're-
okay.
Sister brother.
I mean, I didn't want to assume a gender, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We're just siblings.
yeah.
I didn't know if Brother Networks was a thing. I thought it was sister network and stuff. Sister.
Ooh. We're very sexist.
Okay. Well, whatever.
John, sex is like a free-flowing river that
Oh.
splashes against both shores.
Love is love.
all of this sister. I was gonna say sister fridge. Now you guys got me fucking tripping up.
Nice.
Sticker Fridge, the Domcast podcast, which is brand new. Busuda Boys, Late Night Swipes, Director Showdown, which I am on this season, which
all
is
the
gonna be
hits.
pretty great.
They're-
Yeah,
you're on so many podcasts, John.
I am not
You
on
podcast
not
hoe.
that lot.
Yeah. You know what?
Podcast.
You're out of this one. Andrew.
But yeah, show them some love too, and
Oh, yeah.
it would be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Drew,
Oh,
Andrew,
my turn?
you got a brick and mortar, don't you?
Yeah. Here we go. Ready? I'm gonna say the exact same thing that John just said. We have it on cue cards right behind Emmanuel.
All right, here we
And-
go.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, listen to everything John said. And yeah, I mean everything on the sticker fridge.
rewind if you
Yeah.
missed that part.
Yeah, exactly. Everything on the Delphin Pod Network. Be on the lookout for some new exciting projects that all these guys are doing. I think they're going to be a part of the 48-hour film festival.
Whoa,
as
whoa,
well.
whoa.
Yeah,
No,
so-
Oh,
I'm saying
we're recording on the set of a horror film
horror
Yeah.
film.
that you won't see for a long time.
Yeah, just trying
But
to, and some of it is working towards a final product and just getting things under our belt and working with the chemistry of how the ensemble's gonna fit
Work-wise,
in the
right?
movie
Yeah.
making process. So
you know, one
it's
day
exciting.
we'll be doing a Countdown to Infinity episode
about a Marvel movie
about a
we
Marvel
made.
movie, yeah, that we're making.
Boom.
And we're going to be defending all the choices that we made. When we killed Spider-Man.
Yeah, and also if you
Imagine
like,
that movie. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel at that point. So what are we
Yeah.
making? We're making the Eric O'Grady
You know,
version of Antman.
if we get a meeting with Marvel, all these episodes are going to disappear.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
and
So
and
archive them now, folks.
Yeah.
also
'Cause
if-
they're going to get dusted.
I know a lot of you like movies and hypothetical scenarios for our other podcasts,
Don't
but
speak for them.
if you like reading also, then come by and visit me over at Heroes and Fantasies and get some of this source material. Again, Antman and the Wasp just had a series come out
Watch some
this
comics.
past week. We can dig up some great new stories or older stories that you might like based on your movie choices or media intake, whether that's cartoons or video games or what have you.
And you talk to people too, right? Like
Yeah.
you give really good advice and
yeah,
good
and
conversations.
Yeah, we try to recommend things based
Outside
on
of comics.
No.
you should
No.
you should put all your money into
Yeah. What is that? What I sound like when I go to work?
Yeah, this is the advice you give people. Ask me about Herbalife. That's all, folks.
Yeah. But yeah, visit me at Heroes and Fantasies. Check out a couple of the cool projects that the folks at Heroes and Fantasies have going on too. Rogue Traveler comics, things like that. They have a bunch of reviews where
Cool.
they review comics. Not so much of a podcast, but more of like a blog type thing. And yeah, I mean, if you like this stuff, then chances are you'll probably like that other stuff too.
Yep. Well, guys, it's been great knowing you. It's been great coming into ears one time more again. We appreciate all of the people who listen to this.
It's twice. They have 2 years.
Well, okay. How about I come in this one, you go in the other one?
Deal.
Yeah, but we will see you pretty soon for the Blu-ray releases of these 2 movies because we have a
Trivia game.
trivia game for you guys. But it's not going to happen until those actual releases.
Yeah,
So just
maybe.
sit tight.
And then Captain Marvel, and maybe this podcast name changes once a new name is announced.
Oh, yeah, the Captain Marvel stuff, and there's some. Should we just hint it or not really?
Sure.
There's some discussions about keeping this going for the Marvel Netflix shows. If you guys are a fan of those,
Ooh, baby.
Ooh, that'd be really
Luke Cage
cool.
has season 2 out right
Luke
now.
Cage is really good.
Marvel's
if anyone's
killing
watching
it.
Luke Cage
Yeah.
season 2 right now, like that's fucking great.
Yeah.
But
We
let's
have-
be honest, if that happens, it's just a money grab from us at that point.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's totally.
Yeah. But
Full
all-
disclaimer. Full disclaimer, guys.
It's for the passionate Marvel fans. Well, because then when you watch these movies, then you're like, I want more. So you go home and you try to look for the most similar thing that you can.
And after
Which-
you watch all the porn,
Yeah, exactly. After you watch all the porn parodies and the cartoons and play all the video games,
you can only see Thanos' dick 10 times.
yeah, looks like a purple zucchini, an eggplant, if you will.
A literal eggplant from the emoji.
Exactly. But yeah, so come check it out at Alamo City Comic Con. There's a character from Luke Cage coming over, Shades.
Whoa.
Shades, yeah, and
Exciting.
Luke Cage himself. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
Well, don't
exactly.
don't plug them. We're not sure if they're
Yeah,
a partner
yeah.
yet.
Maybe not. Maybe go focus on.
We have been before for like
Yeah.
4 years. But
Yeah,
then-
Tom Kenny.
Anyways, we'll see you guys later.
Later, guys.
Bye.